Okay, this is now 5 Minute Tarot for the 2nd of February 2017. And today's kind of the opposite of yesterday, because I thought, okay, what happens if yesterday we did the first two cards in the Celtic Cross, the Nine of Pentacles opposed by the Ace of Pentacles. So what if today we look at the first card in the Celtic Cross is the Ace of Pentacles, and the opposing card, the obstacle, the opposing force is this 9, right? Because this is so we can practice and think things through or get ideas, so that when any card comes up in any spread, we've got a decent starting point within our own understanding, within our own minds, which is going to make it easier to make sense of the card that comes up. So let's say the first card in the Celtic Cross is this Ace of Pentacles. This means it's time for a fresh start. It's an ace, so it's a new beginning. It's a fresh start. It can be a new job, a new promotion, a new business, something new that relates to coins, that relates to money. It can be that. Coins is also value, so it can mean that it's time for a new beginning within your own motivation and your own way of doing things, your own way of going about things, or look again at what it is you care about and update your list of preferences or your goals or your whatever it is that you want to do, the direction in which you want to go. In the light of what's going on, it's time for a fresh start in some way. Also, if you look at the card, you'll see we've got the hedge fence thing in there, and we've got, it looks like mountains in the background. So with this particular ace, you can see a certain distance into the future. You can see a certain way, but there's this gateway and so you can't know for sure what's on the other side of the hedge, but there's a doorway, or there's an opening, and you're being asked, I suppose, or we can look and think that the challenge is to have the courage and the confidence to walk through that opening and begin to explore what's on the other side. If the ace is upright, then it's a good move to do it now, let's say. Although if the question is, what should I do 6 months from now, then give it a few months and then make a fresh start. But we've got the idea that we can see a certain distance into the future. We can maybe know the first couple of steps we're going to take, but then the challenge is to go through the opening and see what's on the other side. So if that's the challenge, the ace, the obstacle, what gets in the way, we could say, is going to be this 9 of Pentacles. So it's time for a fresh start, but the old ways, the traditional ways, the old habits are going to get in the way. So with a Celtic Cross, you would look to the other cards to see how can you overcome the old methods, or how can you make changes to old-fashioned or traditional or normal ways of doing things that will allow for growth and newness, and will create conditions where the desire for a new beginning, represented by the ace, can grow and develop and take root, maybe. Only because we seem to be outside. Maybe we can use gardening metaphors about planting seeds and putting down roots and cultivating. Like, if you think of it as maybe as cultivating, because if you have a garden and you cultivate it, you don't just plant seeds and ignore them, but you maybe do weeding and you water regularly and you clean up, and if branches fall onto the patch where you're growing the flowers, you remove the branches. So you do a certain regular maintenance, you maintain the garden, you cultivate it, and maybe you think about the soil and what would grow naturally or what's natural in that part of the country. And maybe you bring in certain flowers that will attract butterflies, which is good for the ecosystem of the garden itself. So this Ace of Pentacles is not just do something new or do something, make a fresh start, but it's also be wise and think about what's involved with the beginning and cultivate the garden. Don't just plant a seed and forget about it. Or rather, if you have the attitude of cultivating whatever it is, whether it's a person or a project or yourself and your interests, if you have the idea of cultivation, then you're going to get much better results than just casually starting something. Okay, that was it for today. Tomorrow, something new. Okay, bye-bye.